and our 125th anniversary, it is my honor and pleasure to introduce, and please help me welcome our president, Don Betz.
Thank you. Well, it's wonderful to be with you today. The hall is filled, and I'm inspired by the words that John has just shared with us. Terrific partner, as it's the rest of the cabinet and all of you, and I echo his welcome to this terrific spring day. You can probably tell by the surrounding, we're celebrating UCO at 125, right? Kind of hard to miss. But I'm very pleased at the work that's been done over this last year, and it's been a year in the prep. Vice President Ann Holzberline and committee and committees have all worked in order to get us to this time. So, Ann, thank you so much, and all of you that have made this day possible. It's terrific to think about. Not only are we celebrating 125 years of history, but I think 125 years of relevance. It's our celebration of decades of service to people in the territory, and then later on the state of Oklahoma. And earlier we saw the scrolling images that captured some of the 13 decades that UCO has decisively helped contour this region and this state. We grew up with Edmond and Oklahoma, and now, affirming the strategic theme of place, we clearly embrace our role in the emerging Oklahoma City metro. So select a pivotal moment in your mind, an era in Oklahoma or U.S. history since the 1890s. And recall that at that time, Central, UCO, was fostering a culture of learning and leading and serving. And those who passed through these halls gained access to new worlds of possibility and opportunity. And importantly, it was our faculty and our staff who have changed the lives and the fate of the state via the transformative power of education. So we, the Territorial Normal School of Oklahoma, Central Normal, Central State Teachers College, Central State College, Central State University, and the University of Central Oklahoma have faithfully, and I believe effectively, been cultivating Oklahoma's most sustainable asset, our people, through parts of 3 centuries. So today we honor them. We honor Robert Howard and John Adams, Rose Jackson and Ida Belt, and of course, Fronia Eckes, the first Central graduates in 1897. Each has a story, as do our graduates today. Look at that taffeta, guys. But if we reflect on this for a moment, Robert Howard took his medical degree after leaving us at the University of Michigan. He became a member of the original faculty of the University of Oklahoma School of Medicine. He studied at the University of Vienna. He trained in World War I in brain surgery in the Army Medical Corps and became chief of staff and the attending surgeon at St. Anthony's Hospital for 26 years, from 1922 to 1946. What a start Central gave to him. Consider John Adams, who had exemplary marks in physiology and arithmetic, the editor of the school paper, and played third base on the baseball team. Took his law degree from the University of Michigan in 1900 and practiced law in Guthrie and El Reno for 50 years. He returned to the campus in 1947 for the golden anniversary of his class. And then there's Ida Belt, who attended grad school not only at the University of Oklahoma, but also the University of Chicago. And Fronia Eckes, she won the very first Oklahoma Intercollegiate Oratory Contest that was sponsored in the spring of 1896, pitting the University of Oklahoma, A&M, and Normal. She took away a $30 prize. And in the process, of course, made history for us. It was her classmate, John Adams, who was also in the contest, who wore that day the colors of Central, the first institution in Oklahoma to have colors. The choice was made by my predecessor, Edmund Murdaugh, who was the president here from 1895 to 1901. And this is what they said about bronze and blue. And this was echoed earlier, I believe, by Dean Ryder at the pinning ceremony for the nursing class this last fall. bronze, symbolizing the burnished sun, the gentle light of intelligence, and blue, the color of heaven's broad expanse, suggestive of depth and aspiration, of hope and ideals. We stand on the shoulders of giants. But UCO at 125, ladies and gentlemen, can't be confined to a rearview mirror. Each day we know that we are building opportunity, capacity, and effectiveness on the foundational efforts of those who stood here before us. We are inspired by their vision and their values, their persistence and acumen, the love of this calling which transcends the latest budget and crisis du jour. The work that we're involved in is community building, it's state building, it's the realization of private aspiration and the sculpting of the common good. Ladies and gentlemen, this is public higher education with a consistent emphasis on excellence and high expectations, on access and success, on collaboration and compassion, on persistence and justice, and, as we all know, on helping students learn. Now, a few moments ago, John and Charlie both referenced some of the accomplishments of the past year, and we had that foldout that you have, Living Central. We couldn't put into this foldout all of what was accomplished, and I have to tell you, it was a year of exceptional time for the institution. The sampling of those recognitions you've already seen in Living Central, but there's so much more. From individual awards to group accolades, from academic departments to student activities to auxiliary enterprises, and on it goes, UCO found itself on local, regional, national, and global lists of distinctions and honor. But it's your work, your devotion to your discipline and to our students. It's your collaboration and your creativity, and yes, your inspiration that are being acknowledged in these accolades and being lauded by colleagues and by the full spectrum of organizations and agency which we are connected. You have taken us to the treetops with a pathway of distinguished learning and serving excellence now standing before us. But I'm not going to paint you a rosy picture today. The challenges have not diminished, nor are they subsided. They are there, and they are formidable. From around the block to around the world, the pace and depth of disruptive change is ubiquitous and invasive. When Tom Friedman of the New York Times was writing in early January 2015, he was wrestling with the realities of the hacking of Sony Pictures of all, and I mean all of its records, and the implications it had in North Korean involvement. He encapsulated the global state of affairs in the world around us by saying this. He said, "We are in the midst of a Gutenberg scale change in how information is generated, stored, shared, protected, and produced into products and services. We're seeing individuals become super empowered to challenge governments and corporations. We're seeing the rise of apps that are putting strangers in our proximity, in our homes, in our cars, in our heads. And thanks to the integration of network smartphones, banks, and markets, the world has never been so tightly wired." And this, he says, is just the tipping point. Dov Sedman, in his Forbes column, How column, said this: "The world operates differently. It's not just interconnected, it's interdependent. More than ever, we rise and fall together. So few now can so easily and so profoundly affect so many so far away." This is the world that we live in, and this is the world our students are inheriting. All of this is happening faster than we can reshape our norms, our behaviors, and our institutions in order to adapt. And so Tom Friedman says the best way to cope is to really adopt the golden rule. Because, he said, in this world, people can see into you and do unto you more than ever before. The challenges are formidable, from global to local. The Oklahoma legislative session will commence in a week with the all too familiar refrain, "There is no money." Should we repeat that? We know this story, and we will be demonstrating our value to Oklahoma's present and future throughout the session until it adjourns in late May. Over the past 2 weeks, UCO has welcomed members of the legislature to learn more about us, that we are a multifaceted institution with a great strategy to secure other forms of support. It will be next week that Governor Fallon will make her State of the State address, and she will let us know that we're about between $300 and $340 million short this year in terms of state funding. It's not as bad as it sounds, but it's bad. It's less than we had last year. For this institution, we are involved with the State Regent's approach to ask for a 9.9% increase for complete college American operational expenses. And our annual mandatory cost increases are around $4 million. When we don't receive that from the state, we have to find it in other ways. And we will work hard to meet those responsibilities and obligations. But those are some of the obstacles that we face, and they're just reality. On the other side, we're facing members of the legislature coming up with a ubiquitous number of bills. Mark Kinders told me, I think this morning, 2,730 some so far. Some of those relate to us, and there are several involving guns. Let me just tell you again, all of our institutions, including this one, are united on the position that we will not have guns on this campus. We simply will not allow it. The challenges are formidable. As you know, there is a lively, if not always well-informed and well-intentioned commentary and debate on the role or even the utility of higher education in this country. Speculation abounds regarding curriculum relevance, time to degree, cost, student debt, access to jobs upon graduation. Abroad in the land that has been transformed and built by public education, there are those shrill voices who contend that it is not a wise societal investment now, and that technology, in fact, relegates universities as we know them to ancillary status at best. We do not agree. We have and will respond to helping students learn to become those productive, creative, ethical, and engaged citizens and leaders that have been part of our historic tradition. 2015, our year, UCO's year, a time of activities, special events, guest speakers like Bruce Katz tomorrow, and performers and opportunities to showcase what UCO has become in 125 years since its founding as the territorial normal school. We have much to share, thanks to you. And what I'd like to do now is just have a couple of slides to show you some of the work that's going on the campus that you may be aware of. Every morning in the pre-dawn darkness, I find my way up Chowning, and as I turn the corner and my lights flash across the gentlemen coming to do their day's work, I watch this rise out of the pumpkin patch. This is the quad. This is the transformative learning headquarters and place for our students, 440 beds for our students. I am really excited about not just the dimension of the building, but what's going to happen here. Secondly, the UCO boathouse on the Oklahoma River. And those of you around Oklahoma long enough, you recall we used to mow that river. Some of you remember, right? Yeah. Well, we're not mowing it anymore. As a matter of fact, as I heard this summer when the International Canoe and Kayaking Championships were held there, two gentlemen from Australia said, "Did you really build this for us?" Because this is a great place to ply our passion. The boathouse will be opening on the 15th, but in a soft way, but on the 18th of April. There will be a celebration. And this is a personal statement from me and a personal expression, an invitation from me and from Ann and everyone else. We want you all to be there. This is your building in the middle of the most vibrant part of the state of Oklahoma. Within 150 yards of where we will be standing, there's the rising up the new whitewater rafting area, a $40 million investment by the city of Oklahoma in its future, a facility unlike any in the country. And our boathouse, housing our women's rowing team and our music and art venue, is going to be a place unlike any other on the river. You're going to have a great deal of pride, a great deal of ownership, and a good feeling about being there. And the commentary already across the city has been so gratifying and so encouraging. We look forward to having you all there, and I mean all of you, on April 18th. Mitchell Hall, Venerable Mitchell Hall from the 1920s, is, thanks to the hard work by the College of Fine Arts and Design, is going to take on a backstage transformation. We're looking forward to the work of the outstanding architect Rand Elliott in transforming Mitchell Hall once again to meet the needs of our outstanding students and our outstanding faculty. Old North. As I told you before, I have the dubious distinction of closing this when I was here before as provost, and working hard to reopen thanks to the hard work of so many people. You will begin to see a great deal of work going on the interior. What you're seeing here, this is what we're shooting for in terms of entryways, et cetera. There will be classrooms. There will be faculty offices. There will be other offices for administration. There will be a welcome center for the people who come to us. There will be a new western entrance into the campus, a western gateway that will make you proud that you are part of this wonderful institution. And we will continue our very strong connection with the city of Edmond to build the linkage right down Campbell. And while so much is going on above ground, below ground, we have the IT infrastructure project, the multi-million-dollar project to make sure that our digital plumbing is exactly what we need in order to face the challenges of the future. And literally, in the morning, if you're around the campus, you see these gentlemen already hard at work doing fiber laying and all of the other activities they must do in order over a period of months to get us where we need to be. Vice President Cynthia Rolfe has told me before that on any particular day, we may have as many as 35,000 and more devices in play, being used by people on the campus. Look at that in terms of the drawdown on our ability to meet those needs. So I am delighted. This is like in your own home when you have to fix the sewer, right? No one gets to see what you spent. But the moment you don't have connectivity, right? Okay. And I wasn't even going there with that, guys. That's good. I'm very pleased with this project and looking forward to its final resolution. John has already mentioned Carnegie Center downtown, and this is our new neighborhood. It's a terrific area for us. Project 180 is finished. All the sidewalks are done. Streetscaping's done. There's a fabulous restaurant across the street. Braniff Building rising up, and then the Sandridge Commons. Downtown Oklahoma City is almost like a village in some ways, and you find yourself connecting with people just when you walk around whose faces you know and who have connection back to Edmond and so many other places. And I thank so many people who have done such incredible work in this area, particularly Karen Youngblood and Linda Banks. So many of you have done phenomenal work to get us ready to take this role. And the faculty, of course, will take us from aspiration to fulfillment because of what will happen there for our students. And my last point has to do with the softball complex, which is now moving toward phase 2. And I don't know if Joe is here or not, but our softball team won the national championship 2 years ago, and this year, hosting down at the Softball Association headquarters, we are the national host of the national championship. I see national championships in our future, and this is, again, an investment which will make a great deal of sense, as will all the other athletic field and areas. One more item I wanted to bring up to you is the Luminary Society. And the Luminary Society is our way of reaching back to the John Adams and the Ida Belts, to all those people, as many of whom you probably know, who from 1890 right up to yesterday have really created the neighborhood, created the culture, fashioned the environment that we call the University of Central Oklahoma. We're going to honor 125 of them with your help. People who have made a difference in whatever role they've played at the institution. And they don't all have to be from 1910, right? There are people that I know that absolutely must be on that list. But the good news is that after we have the first 125 and have them appropriately honored and recognized and memorialized forever, every year we're going to add 10 more. From your mouths, from your hands, from your minds, from your hearts, those people who you know must be recognized. And over the many years, we will then have this cavalcade of incredible gratitude to those who have made such a difference. So I want you to be thinking now, as we end up today, about what is next, what may come. As I thought about the challenges that we face, and thought about the opportunities that are before us, there are two issues that keep coming back to me. One of them is the issue of poverty. And I think it's for a couple of reasons. One, because it's part of the world of Oklahoma City. And secondly, it's part of the world of rural Oklahoma, where I spent a great deal of time in my career. And there was an article that appeared in the the Washington Post, in middle of January, and it said this, that for the first time in 50 years, most public school students are living in poverty. That just ran over me like a cold chill. I probably knew it, but seeing it printed, and I realized that those figures and those realities are played out day to day in real people's lives, in neighborhoods where we drive by or may visit or may even find ourselves working and interconnecting. Darren Walker, the president of the Ford Foundation, who grew up in poverty, said this, "What we know is that mobility escalator is simply stopped for some Americans. I was able to ride the mobility escalator in part because there were so many people cheering me on. We fix it by recommitting ourselves to the idea of public education. Education is the antidote for the cycle of perennial poverty." And the other issue was the issue of who gets to graduate, which is tied to poverty. And in the New York Times last May, Paul Tuff wrote this article that I gave to the cabinet called "Who Gets to Graduate?" And it's a long article, but here's the essence of it. Rich kids graduate, poor and working kids do not. Only 39% of first-generation students graduate in 4 years compared to 60% whose parents both graduated from college. If you want to help low-income students succeed, it's not enough to give them their academic and fiscal opportunities. It's not enough to deal with the obstacles. You need to address their doubts, their misconceptions, and their fears. And that's what we do. This institutional campus culture is caring, it's compassionate, it's encouraging, and we've been living this reputation for years. The most recent manifestation from my heart is Project Persist, with strong intervention and success strategies and other programs throughout the institution. At the University of Texas at Austin, they're trying to deal with this issue, and they keep trying to figure out how to help these students, and they call for smaller classes and peer mentoring and extra tutorial help, engaged advisors, community building exercises, and yes, developing leadership skills. But what they're saying at the bottom line, which we know, is that these students need a posse of support, that nobody will pass on the opportunity to help them, that we simply will not give them the chance to give up. We must counter those self-doubts. We must counter the power of discouragement when they misinterpret a temporary setback as a permanent indication that they don't have it, that they can't succeed, that they're not worthy to be here, to be in your classes, to be in your offices, and to step across that stage, however long it takes them to get there. Well, the antidote for us are the techniques and approaches that I find infused in the reputation and the actions of this institution, in the techniques and approaches of transformative learning and the Central Six. This, to me, is the University of Central Oklahoma. I believe that the most powerful instrument of economic and social mobility in this country is a 4-year college degree. And so we are here to motivate, to give them the tools and the culture to be successful professionals, to be career ready, citizen ready, and life ready, and to have those 21st century skills along with their discipline knowledge, to cultivate their creativity and collaboration, the critical thinking and communication. And they leave here with a passion to learn and relearn and learn more, so they don't only survive, but they truly thrive in this formidable, dangerous, demanding world that's around us. This is the spirit of UCO at 125. It's alive, it's thriving in the hearts and minds and actions of all of us who believe in the power of learning, the importance of leading, and the efficacy of serving. So who comes to us? They're the Robert Howards, the John Adams, the Rose Jacksons, the Ida Bells, the Froni Eckes from 125 years ago. They're not dressed in taffeta. They come in sometime looking a little disheveled. But you know, they're here because they have a dream. And I believe in our way, we are here to take care of them, and in the process, we take care of each other. Welcome to UCO at 125. Thank you. 5 months ago or more, a project began. Again, I defer to my colleague and friend, Ann Hosberlein, and the foundation of this institution. A project began in order to find a pictorial and graphic way to express what this place is about, not just where we've been, but in the spirit of UCO at 125, where we're going. And what follows is an expression of that vision.